All right, folks, we're back. I'm your host, BKP. Good morning from the office. North Georgia's only live online morning show. If you tune in on Thursdays, we apologize. Thursdays, Carla is not able to make it in this morning, she's just not able to be here this morning. We thought she would be here, and something changed, so we apologize. So if you usually tune in, okay, on Thursdays at 8:30 for Carla's Corner, she's not able to be here today. So I'm going to power through, and just so you know, those Carla Corner viewers with my regular show. Some of you may stay. I think you should stay. I think you should stay and just check it out. But anyhow, we apologize that Carla's not able to be with us this morning, and we weren't able to announce it sooner. But we will have tax tips with Beth Bennett at 9 o'clock. So it's 8:40 here. I've got 20 minutes before tax tips with Beth Bennett, and we're going to get back to some state issues. Now, Josh, not knowing Carla wasn't going to be able to be here till the break, I am prepared. I have a lot of information. There's just not a day goes by that I don't have enough information to do 2 hours work. But let's go to this. First, tell people how they can get in touch with the show. Right there you go. That's our phone number, our social media, all the ways you can follow us on social media, and chief@FetcherNews.com. Number 25, you know, I think all of us today are just, you know, hurting a little more and thinking about this guy here, Alex Trebek, cancer diagnosis. You know, Jeopardy, and let's just say it, the guy that hosts the game show Jeopardy, that we cannot answer over 25% of the questions. We're lucky if we get 25% of the questions, and I don't care who is out there bragging of how well you do on Jeopardy. The truth is, this is the guy that hosts the game show that asks questions that we normally would not sit through, that we attempt to answer, okay? And then we watch these people try to answer these questions and make thousands of dollars, hopefully win thousands of dollars. So Trebek announced yesterday his cancer diagnosis, and we wish him well, and he says he's determined to battle this, okay? Now, let's get to number 19. Kirstjen Nielsen, okay, and we're going to get the audio for this when we come back. Kirstjen Nielsen, yesterday, she went to Congress, okay? And I'm not going to say that it's, you know, I like seeing young people get involved, okay? Now, I want to be careful here. I don't want to be a hypocrite. I get tired of seeing in the Senate, you know, we're going to have a major turnover soon. If you go in our U.S. Senate and a lot of our Congress here, you go in our Congress, but you take the U.S. Senate, and you go 65 and older. In fact, I want to do that math today. 65 and older. And you look at how many senators are 65 and older. We have a massive change coming in our Senate. We never talk about that. There's a massive change coming in our Senate. Either they're going to die, sorry, because that seems to be the only way they leave, whether you like me or not saying that. I mean, Dianne Feinstein's what, 82? Is she 82? I mean, just won re-election, another 6 years. I do think, without looking, I don't have it up, but you look it up, I think Feinstein will be 90. I'm serious. Now, you're going to stay Strom Thurmond of South Carolina. I understand, you know. But I think she's going to be around 90. Chuck Grassley is leaving. I think he's gone, but he's like 82. He finishes his term, he's gone. So what I'm saying is we are going to have an enormous shift in this country within the next 10 years. They're both 85. Wow, Josh told me they're both 85. So Grassley's going home at 85. Feinstein will be 91. Yes, 6-year term. 91 when she finishes up. Anyhow, the point is we are getting ready to make a major shift in our Senate, okay, whether it be Republican or Democrat, and a major shift in the House when it comes to age, okay? And sure, so what I don't want to be is a hypocrite saying I don't want young people, but, you know, to serve. But Kirstjen Nielsen goes up there yesterday, and, you know, she's accused of lying for the administration. I mean, it is so disgraceful. All right, she's accused of lying for the administration. She goes up there to say, hey, we're going to have 1 million illegals arrive, okay, expected in 2019. All right? Now, here is something that they won't run on the news. They won't run on the news. So let's get to number 22. Now, this is Mr. Thompson, Democrat Mr. Thompson. Mr. Thompson said, I watched this video. We don't use cages for children? You sure? He just pounded, oh, the kids in cages. Are they in cages? You know what? Let me just let Mr. Thompson know they're detention centers. We detain them. Whether you like it or not, we are going to detain them. Those centers detained have a perimeter of fencing around them. They are detained, Mr. Thompson. And they're not detained in cages. Because I'm going to tell you, I'm going to ask you out there. When you hear cage, do you not hear of a small defined area that a kid was found in a cage? A dog was left in a cage? A gorilla's in the cage at the zoo? Do you not define a cage as an area that is constrictive? Now, I understand detention centers, okay, they look like you want to call them a cage, go ahead. But you know what you're doing when you yell cage, okay? You know what you're doing. And it's taking children from their parents. So this guy yells cages. No, she said, are you talking about a cage like this and your dog's in the backyard? They're even coming out and saying these are the people that don't believe the dog should be in the cage, okay? Period. But that was his MO. Now I want to move along to Slotkin, Representative Alyssa Slotkin. And Alyssa Slotkin's a Democrat from Michigan. And she was one of those that didn't know if she was going to vote for Nancy Pelosi because she promised her constituents if she was elected she wouldn't. So now this woman goes and does Slotkin, and let me tell you, she's a freshman representative. And then from Illinois, okay, she's the vice chair. Now this person, this young lady is the vice chair of Homeland Security Committee, number 24. Or did you put up, let me say, put up 23. I didn't ask you to put that up. There's 23. There's Alyssa Slotkin. Now she's going over, and she wants to know if Kirstjen Nielsen, Homeland Security Secretary, has read all these psychological papers on separating kids and us separating kids and from their parents, and she goes on and on. And then this one here, number 24, Lauren Underwood, Democrat, Illinois, Vice Chair of Homeland Security Committee, she doubles down on it as she just really goes after her on do you understand how how children are so psychologically harmed? And have you, and went into psychological, that we're hurting these children on this separation from their parents and them being in cages. Have you looked at the psychological effect, the long-term psychological effect of these children being kept in a cage? Let me ask you something. If you accidentally were tuned into CNN and you accidentally were tuned into MSNBC, okay? If you were tuned in at any time today and you're here with me on the show, have you heard any of those networks discuss with you or tell their viewers, that if a girl is 10 years old and up, the first thing we do is administer a pregnancy test? That's right. Did they tell you that? Did they come out yesterday and ask Kirsten Nielsen about the research and the study of the psychological effects and how dramatized these children are and the lasting long-term effects of what they went through watching rape, watching abuse, watching their family be harmed by the coyotes and the people that are transporting them? Did they ask Kirsten Nielsen yesterday if she has read the research on how dramatic the trip is on children? No. But do you realize what's being said here? These children cross our border. The very first thing that happens, if they're girls 10 and over, we give them a pregnancy test so we know. But we know they've been raped along the way. But we give them a pregnancy test. We put these children in clean areas, clean. On the other side of the board, they're sleeping in filth and disgust. They're watching abuse of their families. They're watching their mothers get raped. It's just a traumatic. It's so harmful to these children that are taking this trip, getting to our border. Do you realize once they cross our border, it's the true safety they don't know? And these people, this woman here, right here, wanting to know if Kirsten Nielsen has read psychological reports and long-term effect of children kept in a cage. She's a freshman, first term. This woman here, number 23, Slotkin, long-term effect of separating children, being put in a cage. And this guy here, Mr. Thompson, number 22, hey, children in cages. And we're putting these children in cages. Folks, do you realize when they step across the border is the first time they can exhale? If you go in these detention areas, these people are sleeping for the first time in days. These people can't sleep at nights on this travel because of how they're worried about, are they going to have somebody come in and beat them? Are they going to have somebody come in and steal what belongings they have? Are they going to have somebody come in and rape their wife, rape their daughter? I'm not okay with them coming. But the trauma of getting to the border, do these people ever discuss with our country that when they come across is the first time they can clean up and get washed up? It doesn't matter if that's a concrete floor and they're in a holding center until they're processed. But it's clean. They got a chair. They're not waiting for somebody to come attack them. They feel safe in there. They're sleeping for the first time. They're getting food. They're getting medication. They're getting towels. And young girls 10 and over are having to go through a pregnancy test. No, they don't tell you any of that. I'm telling you, it's just disgusting what these politicians are doing to try to turn things around on us. A humanitarian crisis at the border. Yeah, it's a humanitarian crisis at the border until they get, and they're hurting our system. They're expanding our system. They are exploding our system. Do you realize all of those people, that million people that are getting in here, we're going to send those kids to school. We're going to put them somewhere to live. Yeah. Hospitals. I'm your host, BKP. It's now time for Tax Tips right after these messages, Tax Tips with Beth Bennett. And then at 9:15, I will come back. We're going to talk about the Georgia State Legislature. It's crossover day. So join me back at 9:15 for the finish of Georgia State Legislature for crossover day. And right after these messages, Tax Tips with Beth Bennett. Take us to break, Josh.